Okay, can you guys see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so आपण काल पी स्टेशन बद्दल बोलत होतो and then we spoke about all the training. पी स्टेशन मध्ये एक गोष्ट जी सांगायची राहिली ती म्हणजे I mentioned family life. So I actually got married in 1983 when we were in Lucknow, and therefore Sandhya could join me in that station. And we were like, I think yesterday I mentioned we were a dirty dozen in Lucknow and all that. So we were the first ones to get married. So Sandhya has some stories on that in terms of because accommodation कधी कधी पी स्टेशन मध्ये मिळत नाही. So we had great experience of living in ladies' room, living in some ad hoc accommodation, and then being the first married couple amongst a whole lot of bachelors. She also had some great experience of cooking for them many times. So ते एक वेगळं एक्सपिरियन्स होतं आणि इट्स in fact what I say is that in the army the wives are the ones who have the best time because everybody is at your service. Ma'am, what do you have, ma'am? What can I do for you, ma'am? And suppose there are 12 guys sitting in a mess or anywhere and a lady walks in, everybody immediately gets up, no questions. So you have to highest respect for women and they are treated like queens. So Sandhya may not agree to that, but that's a different story. But yeah, so all women are like queens and they're really looked after. So I thought I'll mention that family life is possible in peace stations. आणि कधी कधी फील्ड मध्ये पण अलाउड असते. ते पण मी सांगतो. So Lucknow we had a great time, and then yesterday we spoke about weapons आणि आपण we spoke about special weapons, support weapons, आणि आपण म्हणलो आर्टिलरीचे हाय ट्रॅजेक्टरी वगैरे असतात. So I forgot to talk about the basic weapons. So personal weapon प्रत्येकाकडे असतं आणि not much of a choice. There is a pistol, there is a Sten gun, and there is a rifle. आणि mostly what people prefer in the war is rifle because you can keep the enemy at least 300 to 500 meters away. If you're using a Sten gun, then that is effective only up to 100 meters, and if you got a pistol, then even lesser. So साधारण rifle असते. So one of the things that we check in our proficiency is how good a shooter you are. You don't really need marksman, पण आता आर्मी मध्ये असतं की एक गोली एक दुश्मन, no wastage of ammunition. And you can have एक गोली एक दुश्मन only if you are a good shot. So typically what is expected is at 100 meters you should have a 2-inch grouping. 2-inch grouping म्हणजे सगळ्या गोळ्या तुमच्या 2 इंचच्या डायमीटर मध्ये बसल्या पाहिजे आणि 300 मीटरवर ऍटलीस्ट युअर बुलेट शुड बी ऑन द टार्गेट. इट शुड हिट द टार्गेट wherever it hits, so that we can achieve एक गोली एक दुश्मन. Yeah. So I just want to do a small exercise. So one of the basic things is to figure out which is your master eye. So what I would request all of you to do is pick up an object about 20-30 meters away from you. Okay. आणि एक असं तुम्ही एका बोटाने त्याच्याकडे पॉइंट करा with both your eyes open. Yeah. You can do it now. So once you've done that, pick up any object आणि त्याच्याकडे असं बोट दाखवा, दोन्ही डोळे उघडे ठेवा आणि मग एक डोळा बंद करा आणि बघा बोट तिथेच राहतो का दुसरीकडे जातो आणि मग दुसरा डोळा बंद करा आणि पहिला वाला उघडा. So you'll notice something happening. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically when you close one eye it'll be great, your finger will be aligned, and when you close the other one it'll go somewhere else. That's a alignment part राहील दुसरीकडे. So the funda is that if right eye is your master eye, then you fire your rifle from the right shoulder. If your left eye is your master eye, then you have to fire your rifle from the left shoulder. So otherwise your grouping and everything will go for a toss. So हे एक आम्हाला definitely करावं लागतं. And then of course we spend a lot of time at the range, firing, doing a lot of practice firing of that. So this is your personal weapon. And this is your, like yesterday I think somebody asked a question. हे सारखं तुमच्याबरोबर असतं in field area. When you go to peace, you have to you can when you finish the training, you hand it over to what is called as a code.
काका तुमचं प्रेझेंटेशन नाही दिसत आहे. आय कॅन सी युअर स्क्रीन. बाकीच्यांना दिसतेय का आता?
नाही,
स्लाइड दाखवतो.
स्लाइड दिसत नाहीये.
स्लाइड दिसत नाहीये, स्क्रीन दिसतेय तुमचं. सिलेक्टेड स्क्रीन. मीटची जी स्क्रीन आहे ती सिलेक्टेड आहे, आय थिंक, त्यामुळे.
ची स्क्रीन सिलेक्टेड आहे त्यामुळे. ओके, सो आय जस्ट स्टॉप शेअरिंग and I will present now in a window and I will choose this and I will say share. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So so this is the one about the shooting. Okay, so I hope everybody has discovered their master eye. Anybody who got a left as a master eye?
माझं काहीतरी गडबड आहे डोळ्यांची. एकदा एका डोळ्याने नीट दिसतं, एकदा दुसऱ्या डोळ्याने. मी नीट बघीन नंतर.
माझा लेफ्ट आहे. मी लेफ्टी आहे.
अच्छा, तू
हो, मला कसं ओळखायचं, कारण मी पहिले राईट डोळा बंद करून हे केलं, पॉइंट केलं.
नाही तसं नाही पॉइंट करायचं. When you're pointing, you keep both your eyes open.
ओके.
Keep both your eyes open and point, साधारण पॉइंट करायचं, because you can't do it accurately, but you know that alignment is there, right? आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर then do the eyes closing.
माझा लेफ्ट आहे.
हो, आय थिंक माझा राईट आहे. म्हणजे दोन्ही डोळे उघडतानाची पोझिशन राईट डोळा उघडा असतानाच दिसते.
लेफ्ट हँडेड लोकांचं लेफ्ट डोळा इज द
साधारण
कारण निळ्याचा पण लेफ्ट.
हो, माझा पण लेफ्ट आहे.
हो ना. अच्छा, so that kind of shows. आणि Vasi, you are a lefty also?
Yeah. Lefty.
Oh, great. So I think your entire body is in alignment, because you're lefty. Left eye is a master eye. Okay, great. Yeah.
So मला अजून एक क्वेश्चन होता जनरल अबाउट द रायफल्स. तुम्ही मेन्शन केलं, राईट? जनरली असं वी हॅव हर्ड की आपले वेपन्स टेंड टू बी इदर थोडेसे आधीच्या जनरेशनचे ऑर लाईक सेमी ऑटोमॅटिक ऑर इव्हन मॅन्युअल ऍज कम्पेअर्ड टू सम ऑफ द अदर कंट्रीज. सो ह्या बेसिक वेपन्स जे युजली कॅरी करायचा तुम्ही, त्यांच्यामध्ये कितपत इट वॉज ट्रू?
Yeah, so the Western countries definitely have slightly more, advanced weaponry. But we are now catching up very fast. So, for example, during my tenure itself, there were 2 changes. I mean, the rifles, the entire weaponry got upgraded. आता हे जे पिक्चर मध्ये दिसते, this is not one of the latest, but we had what is called very sleek 7.62 mm, self-loading rifle, and now I believe everybody's got AK-47s and beyond. So India is catching up, and we are upgrading, because we don't want the army to say that, hey, we are at a disadvantage because the weapons are outdated. So that doesn't happen. So so that's not an excuse at all. But yes, the government is doing things to upgrade. तर weapons बद्दल साधारण there is no we don't have major complaints. So basically, if we can engage an enemy at a distance of 300 to 500 meters, then I think we are good. And if you can hit the target, ek goli ek dushman is what we need. So more sophistication basically means that you will probably be, in a rifle you may be able to burst fire and stuff like that, and you may have some laser guidance. You may have better vision in the night. So those are the kinds of advancements that to the last time. But like I said, so things are improving. I mean, I have not heard of any complaints. During our time, we were quite okay. Yeah. But see, the arms and equipment industry has to run, and America and some of the Western world, they have to do business. So they will keep innovating, and they'll keep coming out with newer weapons for better destruction, and those things will continue happening. Yeah. Even otherwise, I think we hear about raffle, and we hear about a lot of huge equipment being imported these days. So on one hand, you don't want it. On the other hand, you have to do it because you have to be comparable. That India's got F-16, India's got this, India's got that. So they kahe. So therefore, it's a political necessity for the army to always show that we have the best weapons.
आपण किती वेपन्स बाहेरून इम्पोर्ट करतो आणि किती आपल्या इंडियातच बनवतो, असं काही आहे की?
I think majority आपले जे battalion weapons जे असतात, individual rifles and all that, those are all manufactured in India now. The only things that are imported are these large artillery guns, some anti-aircraft missile based weaponry. ते असे काही आपण करतो import. But आता most of our other weaponry is indigenous. Our dependency on import has, I think, tremendously reduced. Yeah, so that was so आपण काल बोलत होतो की वेगवेगळ्या टाईपची ट्रेनिंग होते, and then we said in India we have different kinds of terrain, and I think we also spoke about Dich Kam Ban, then we talked about mountain warfare. Yeah, so we were here, right? High altitude warfare school, HAWS as we call it. This is what it looks like in summer and winter. This is one of the best mountaineering institutes in the country, and it kind of, I don't know which one came before. We have another one called Himalayan Mountaineering Institution, Himalayan Mountaineering Academy. So that's a civilian one. And so both are kind of comparable, and both have some of the best training and best equipment for mountaineers. आणि बरेच एक्सपिडिशन जे जातात आर्मीच्या थ्रू पण खूप एक्सपिडिशन जातात. So when I was doing mountain warfare here, it was in 1981-82. तेव्हा the first batch of advanced mountain warfare course people had gone to Siachen. So तेव्हा Siachen जे आहे ते disputable area होती. I think in the year 1981, in one of the UN conferences, in the Indian map, Siachen was shown as part of China and Pakistan. Part of it Pakistan, part of it China. So the Indians came back and they said, hey, how can this happen? Because that is our area. So the physical expedition went, and then we actually went and occupied that place. आपल्या इकडे असं आहे की जे जो ऑक्युपाय करेल ती त्याची जमीन, So we went and actually physically occupied that place, and then it becomes ours. So anyway, this mountain warfare course is a very, very tough course. This is this beautiful Kashmir Valley, because HAWS it is located in Gulmarg. So the main center is in Gulmarg, and there is a branch in Sonmarg. So bulk of the training we do in Gulmarg, and rock climbing, rappelling, and बाकीचे training आहे ते आम्ही सोनमार्गला जातो. So this looks very beautiful, but it doesn't when you're doing a course, because you see Kashmir Valley on foot, and you're doing that for a period of 2 months. So you're doing all kinds of mountain warfare related work on the mountains, going up and down and doing all kinds of warfare related work. But yes, it indeed is a very beautiful place. The Sonmargla आम्ही जेव्हा जातो rock climbing हे झाल्यानंतर, then there is one thing which is interesting, which is called the glacier work. So there is this glacier, it's called Machoi Glacier. The Machoi Glacier मध्ये आमची ग्लेशियरची ट्रेनिंग होती, and this is a little unusual, so I thought I'll share with you. So one of the things that some of you may know, that when you're doing a kind of a patrol, or when you're going around the mountains, you go as a rope. That means there's a rope actually which is connecting everybody, because in case of an avalanche, ते सगळे डुबले तर एक सापडला किंवा दोरीचं कुठेतरी टोक सापडलं तर you can trace out everybody. So that is one of the reasons. The second important reason, which big risk, is what is called as a crevasse. So crevasse कधी पण आपल्याला दिसत नाही. It might have a thin coating of ice, and then people tend to fall inside. And when you fall inside, then there is a drill that the remaining people, because everybody is tired, so the remaining people take an ice axe and they dig into the hard ice. But the anchor होतं, and then one guy is hanging, and it's easier to pull him out. So crevasse, training we do when we go to Machoi Glacier, आणि तिथे आम्हाला actually धक्का मारून खाली ढकलतात पाण्यात, crevasse मध्ये. So we are hanging somewhere in the middle of ice walls, and sometimes at the bottom of it, and then two guys or whatever the team has to come in and rescue. So we do that actual drill as a practice in terms of how do we do it when we actually encounter such a situation. And I just want to show this slide to you because this shows the shoe. So this special shoe आम्ही वापरतो, which has spikes in the front, and the front spikes are basically used to dig into the ice when you kind of climb down or climb up. हे तिकडे glacier training is kind of very exciting. So I thought I'd share that with you. So other than that, HAWS, I must also say that I was posted in Srinagar, which is the core headquarters, on a kind of a extra regimental employment. And tithe me, incidentally, I came there as a general staff officer for MIS, Management Information System. So the MIS म्हणजे वेगळंच आहे. There were no computers. So Management Information System is basically manually check how many people have sent their weekly, monthly reports. They come from the, so at a core headquarters yesterday, I explained the hierarchy, right? So you have reports coming up the chain, and then you have the whole gatta, and then some guys counting all that, and putting a Kagzi report and saying yes, all in, and that report gets forwarded to the command. So it's a very manual kind of a job. But anyway, so while I was there, I was lucky to get a vacancy for a family for a skiing course at Hawes. And Sandhya माझ्याबरोबर होती. So we actually went and did a skiing course in Gulmarg at Hawes. So that was very interesting. It was not a long, I think 15 days course it was. So that was another good perk that we had at Hawes. All right. So then okay.
वृषाली तुझा तो प्रश्न तुला विचारायचा का? तू टेक्स्टवर टाकलायस तो?
हो ऍक्च्युली चालेल, आता पण विचारू शकते काका. तुम्ही मगाशी जे सियाचीनचं म्हणाला होतात की यू हॅव टू ऑक्युपाय द एरिया अँड देन काइंड ऑफ क्लेम, तर जर गोइंग बाय दॅट नोशन, इज दॅट हाऊ POK केम इन टू पिक्चर? Pakistan occupied Kashmir, or no, that's another logic?
No. So the logic is the same. Okay, whoever occupies, it becomes theirs. Okay, so we'll come to POK a little later. मी एक map दाखवणार आहे, तेव्हा मी POK बद्दल सांगेल. But the fact is, so if you go and occupy, it is yours, simple. Unless until you have enough power to throw them out. Okay, which we haven't done. Pakistan is sitting there, and we haven't had the whatever political or will to kind of throw them back. You throw them back and go and occupy some of it. It is yours. Okay, I'll come to that in a little while. Yeah, but yeah, good question. Yeah, we'll come to that. Okay, so sorry, any more questions? Then let's take a halt here and All right, cool. So let me go to Ladakh. So then I had a posting ad. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our beautiful camp in Chumathang in Ladakh, which is 130 miles from Leh and 14,000 feet high. And our entire unit, that is the battalion, was posted here. So this is what it looked like in winter, and this is what it looked like in summer. And yeah, this is what the mountains look like. So इथे जो axis आहे, this is an axis this is East Ladakh, and this is the Chinese axis on Indus River. So it's called the Indus River axis. आणि जे गलवान जे झालं, this was about 100 miles ahead up north. Again, I'll show that on a map. But yeah, so this is the axis that we were guarding, and the role was we were the forwardmost battalion on this axis. And obviously, our mountains were deployment hoti in a defensive posture. So the role there was defensive posture, and yeah, the terrain is absolutely rugged and extremely difficult. And again, you have to do acclimatization. So when you come to Leh is around 11,000. So Leh, you do acclimatization, first stage of acclimatization, and then you come here, and then we do the second one here because we are at 14,000. Then you go further up. So rarity of atmosphere, and therefore rarity of oxygen, and therefore all the other associated problems happen. आणि हे जे पीक्स आहेत हे चढायला जवळजवळ ऑलमोस्ट 6-7 तास लागतात. ओके, आणि सो ऑलमोस्ट मोर दॅन हाफ अ डे, and there is no water and there is no other kind of resources available. They're absolutely barren and dry. This is called a cold desert, but these are cold kind of barren mountains. And this creature is very, very helpful. So ह्याला खच्चर म्हणतात, खच्चर, and this is a cross between a donkey and a horse. So it has got the best qualities of a donkey and horse, and very, very tough and rugged, and we survive because of this खच्चर. I think it's called a mule in English. So these mules are very well trained, आणि त्यांना म्हणजे हे डोंगरात चढायचं वगैरे बारीक जरी हे असलं, they're very good at that. So these guys start early morning from the top. They are with us. They go down, they fill up water, and they come back. By the time they come back, it's evening. So evening again they rest on top. Next morning again they go down, and everybody gets at least something like a bottle of water to survive. Because when you are in a defensive posture, you are located there. You're not in the base camp. So you are actually physically on the mountains, and this is when these kind of creatures come in very handy. You have the yaks in Sikkim, and you have these khachars here. Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah, so this is one of my pictures in Ladakh in one of the patrols. The reason I'm sharing it is त्यावेळेस आमच्याकडे एवढे we were not picture crazy that we are now. नाव आय विश की माझून फोटो का नाही काढले मी. एवढे फोटो काढता आले असते छान छान. You could have really done that. So this is one of the pictures that I found, which is in that area. So I thought, let me, also show off a little bit and say that I was actually there. So, yeah. So then Ladakh, I think we have one more interesting thing is तिथे कसं होतं आमचं लेहचे जे लोकेशन होतं ना, there we were allowed families for 3 to 4 months in summers as a special case. And families, again, there is discrimination. Only officers were allowed families and the Jawans were not allowed families. Anyway. So I was lucky Sandhya came there and a few other ladies who were kind of daring, they all came. And unfortunately, the weather doesn't suit everybody, right? So there was one lady who had to be evacuated because she had a breathing problem. And Sandhya almost got there in one of the occasions, So I don't know whether she was doing it intentionally. Many times I had to carry her from the mess to the, barracks. बॅरेक्स पण नाही म्हणताय ना, ते दगडी आमचे असे मातीचे बनवलेले ना, असे शॅक्स होते मातीचे बनवलेले. अँड टू बेअर द एक्स्ट्रीम कोल्ड तिथे आम्ही त्याला ब्लँकेट्स लावतो आतून. त्या आर्मीचे काळे ब्लँकेट असतात, सगळे ब्लँकेट लावले. अख्खा काळा असा डेन आहे, तसा तो डेन असतो 10 फूट बाय 10 फूट. आणि त्याच्यामध्ये एक अशी बुखारी असते, वी कॉल इट बुखारी. आपला जुना एक तुम्हाला लक्षात असेल, आपल्याकडे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आपण एक तो बंब वापरायचो पाणी गरम करायला आंघोळीचा, तसा बंब असतो तो. त्याच्यात केरोसिनचा एक टॅप असतो आणि तो पेटवायचा की ते बंब गरम होतो आणि मग आजूबाजूला सगळं इट कीप्स द रूम वॉर्म. आणि फॉर लाईट ऑन द रूफ वी हॅव अ लिटल ओपनिंग, तिकडे काच लावतो सो दॅट देर इज सम डे लाईट दॅट कॅन कम इन. अँड ऑब्व्हियसली देर इज नो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, सो यू हॅव पेट्रोमॅक्स. सो संध्या वॉज फॉर्च्युनेट टू live that life with me in those kind of shacks, and we had a good time. And also because of the cold na tithe काय होतं की we don't have these modern gadgets of heating. So I just want to share this. ते मेस मध्ये आम्ही जेव्हा जेवतो तेव्हा we have a big size bukhari, the same drum which heats up stuff. आणि त्याच्यावर एक मेटलची मोठी गोल प्लेट असते, which is our dining table. Okay, because it has to be hot. आणि we all eat in steel plates. आणि ती स्टील प्लेट त्याच्यावर ठेवायची, मग त्याच्यावर आपली भाजी पोळी जी काय टाकली ती खाता येते. बिकॉज द मोमेंट यू टेक इट अवे इट फ्रीजेस, सो यू कांट इट. सो दॅट्स अ व्हेरी युनिक वे ऑफ डायनिंग इन द मेस. आणि दॅट इज समथिंग दॅट आय डिड नॉट एक्सपिरियन्स एनीवेअर एल्स. Okay, so that's about Ladakh. Anything, so most of the stuff that I shared with you. Okay, so here is a map of the mountain ranges. Can you see it? Or maybe I'll make it big. The mountain ranges that are there in India, right, starting from Pir Panjal to Great Himalayan Range, Zanskar Range, Ladakh Range, Saltaro, which is Siachen, and then you have the Karakoram Range. So now up to the Zanskar Range is the tree line. So साधारण 10,000 feet पर्यंत tree line असते. त्याच्यावरती it is all barren, and मग त्याच्यावरती it is all snow. It is gradual. So going to Ladakh, Leh itself is a journey that has to cross all these mountain ranges. Zojila is here, Dras. So the rivers and the mountains make it very difficult. Now the reason I'm showing you this map is that in this kind of a terrain, it's very difficult to earmark कि पाकिस्तान कुठे आणि इंडिया कुठे आणि चायना कुठे आणि इंडिया कुठे. Because of the terrain, one of the biggest problem that we have had is that our borders have not been clearly marked. And if they're not clearly marked, I can go and say, hey, this is mine. And they can come and say, this is mine. This is exactly the problem that, Shruti was mentioning. Shruti, no? I think, yeah. Rushali, who was asking, somebody asked that question. Rushali, yeah, sorry. So Rushali asked that question, right? So this is the terrain, and therefore one of the biggest problem has been that how do you figure out what is where? So let me share another map. This is our beautiful political map, okay? आणि हे आपल्याला सगळ्यांना लहानपणापासून आपण इंडियाचा मॅप असा बघतो मस्तपैकी वरती, है ना? But in reality what has happened is that almost half of it इकडे POK आणि इकडे अक्साई चीन. So that is all completely gone. And if you then, a revised map is kind of not that attractive looking. And ithe ahe Siachen Glacier. Okay. Now there is some part of POK which has been handed over by Pakistan to China. So that is POK occupied by China. And the reason China has gone is they are running that Aksai Chin highway. And therefore Siachen Glacier has a very strategic importance. So if we give up Siachen Glacier, this whole area would be there. They would dominate these heights, and we would have a further disadvantage. So here, far important होतं, though the terrain is horrible. I think we have gone and occupied that, and now today we are very well. I was showing you those crevasses and all that, no? So that's the reality in Siachen Glacier, because तिथे आर्टिलरीची शेलिंग चालू असते, आणि त्या शेलिंगमुळे हे cracks develop and these crevasses develop. And when we were in Ladakh, I actually had to, we had to send detachments to Siachen Glacier. I personally did not go to the glacier, but I went to Partapur, which is the base camp of Siachen. And the reason I had gone there was to receive 2 bodies of our jawans, because the Varti Asthana, because of the shelling, the boulders, some of the boulders got loose and they kind of toppled. These guys got caught under that. So there are a lot of these vagaries of the weather. So on one hand, you're fighting the enemy. On the other hand, you are, fighting the weather. Yeah. So here, you can see Leh, and then you have Indus River flowing. So Chumathang was somewhere here. You can see my mouse. The angle I'm ithe. Okay. So this gives you an idea, and the other one is a map, which is a recent map. आणि हा मॅप जो आहे तो बीबीसीने पब्लिश केला आहे, and it is so shameful that they are not even saying India. They are saying India administered Kashmir and Pakistan administered Kashmir and China, Aksai Chin. This is crazy. I don't think the Indian government should sit quietly to agree to this map. But anyway, it does show the demarcation, right? आणि आपल्या पॉलिटिकल मॅप मध्ये अक्सायची आपण ह्या इथपर्यंत दाखवली होती, बट ऍक्च्युली दे आर राईट हिअर. दिस इज वाय व्हेन वी वर हिअर इन Chumathang, we were told that the Indus River as it flows is the international border. So everything this side of river is China and everything this side of river is India. And Galwan is here on the further up. So China has been habitually encroaching into Indian territory all the time. So example, in 1962 war, I mean this whole Aksai Chin, it got formed in 1962. 1962 ladai we lost in a bad way, purely because we had not even occupied this area. This whole terrain that was supposed to be India was not even occupied. So it was like a free run. So they all came in and they occupied this area and it became theirs. And then after that we can only politically request them, okay, go back, this is ours and all that. And that doesn't work. Similarly, what happened in Pakistan? 1947, immediately after independence, Pakistan came full-blown attack. They wanted to take Srinagar. They wanted to capture the entire J&K. So by the time we realized that was happening, by the time we geared up our army and kind of we managed to fend them off from Srinagar. Obviously, we did not allow them to capture Srinagar and we kept them away. But whatever area they had occupied became theirs. And then with political intervention, I mean, this war was stopped because of intervention of America and Russia. And then at the end of it, whatever reason, God knows, they agreed that, okay, let's now live with a new line, which will be the, border. So which I don't know what level of agreement was given, but today that is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And the funda is very clear. They came and they occupied it, So that is the name of the game, and it's a very sad state because still today, and right now we know every day, there's a lot of tension on the borders. And pure reason is that the borders are not clearly demarked, and it is like we say it is ours, and they say it is theirs. So recently, जे गालवानमध्ये झालं ते तेच होतं. ते एन्क्रोचमेंट करतायत, ते अजून एन्क्रोचमेंट करायला लागले. So the story that I know is that they erected some new posts on the border, which apparently is supposed to be our area. So these guys were told की बाबा इथे नका करू, तुम्ही मागे घेऊन जा. एक दोनदा सांगितल्यानंतर त्यांनी ती काढली पोस्ट. नंतर अगेन in a couple of weeks they again came back and put that post. So असे 2-3दा झाल्यानंतर our guys went and destroyed that post. त्यांनी ती तोडून टाकली, जाळून टाकली, काहीतरी केलं. आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर ते हॉस्टिलिटी वाढली and then they caught these guys who went on a recce. तिघं होते आणि मग त्या तिघांना त्यांनी मारलं. सम स्ट्रेंज आय थिंक कधीतरी आपण I mean 45 years there has been no firing on the border, which is in a way it's a good thing. It has been a kind of peaceful coexistence. पण therefore they were not carrying arms and ammunition. I think that was in the treaty. So China used those stupid, improvised weaponry, and they had a brutal attack, and 20 guys succumbed to the clash. But what is little known is that there was a counterattack done by 150 people who posted there as part of that unit, and we not only killed more than twice of what they had done, but we also pushed them back by at least 20 kilometers. Is what is the discussion going on in the army circles. There are varying numbers reported. People say 40, somebody said 60 people killed, somebody said 100. But China is silent on that. Yeah. But I think even the international media has agreed that there were 40 to 50 casualties on the Chinese side. And it's just sad that our media was caught sleeping, and they were not able to project this in a positive way. And it was such a sad event for most Indians. While casualties in war is fine, but at least they should have also talked about the counterattack that happened, and how we kind of equalized or whatever. Anyway, so that's the story of Galwan, I know, and like I mentioned yesterday, Hotstar वर एक series का एक काहीतरी short movie release करतायत, and the first view of that is available. आणि तो आपल्याला हे दिसत नाही का? दिसतंय? I thought he probably is not seen. Okay. Yeah, so I think we should all see that and see what is presented in that movie. Yeah. So in terms of what we in the army feel is that, hey guys, we are ready. We have the will, we have the arms, we have the ammunition, we have the training. So why doesn't the political machinery, make a demand, take a posture that, hey guys, we are coming for POK. We want POK and we want excitement. So that is the posturing that we should do. However, in reality, it doesn't look like it should have happened. 70 years have gone by. So excitement will remain with them. Now they have done huge development. They have built a lot of infrastructure, and they have kind of habited this area which was completely inhabited. And of course, we are not lagging behind. So we've also built a lot of infrastructure, and suddenly there is a lot more movement happening. Where I told you in Chumathang, there was kind of one unit. Our unit was the forwardmost. Now there's a brigade there. Okay, there's a division there. So there are 3 brigades deployed in that whole frontage. It's just completely unoccupied. There's nobody there. So that is so that's the story of Ladakh. So that's the posting that I had. 2 years I was there. It was a wonderful time. And other than acclimatization on the, we had a very, I told you Sandhya was with me, and तिथे आमच्या location पाशी एक hot spring होता. And that hot spring, we had converted that into we called that a dagger hut. आणि ती hut अशी 5-star hut आम्ही तयार केली होती. As good enough for a family to go on an outing. आमच्या युनिटच्या जवळच होती. आणि ती इतकी छान होती की त्या हॉट स्प्रिंगचा आम्ही एक असा टब बनवला होता. And the entire family could get into that tub. And sulfur water, which is that hot spring content, which is supposed to be very good for the bones. So it's a good treatment. So once in a month or something like that, we used to go and take a nice dip. And the बाजूला आम्ही मस्तपैकी luxury cots वगैरे केले होते. So you feel you're somewhere else. That was a small perk we had in Ladakh. But the problem was in where we were living, we used to get one bucket of water per day. Dry sanitation, and 1 bucket of water for the whole day. So those are the kind of conditions. But yeah, for the Fauji's no problem, but families, yes. So finally, one lady had to be evacuated. I think Sandhya, you managed to stay all the 4 months that she was allowed to. And also she was lucky to join me in Srinagar on that other occasion. Okay, any questions?
अशा टफ टेरेन्स मध्ये मॅक्सिमम ड्युरेशन काय असतं पोस्टिंगचं?
Field area is 2 years.
Okay.
Phase 2. And Siachen Glacier is 3 months. On the glacier, you keep rotating every 3 months. आणि तिथे दुसरी सूट जे दिली आहे म्हणजे you need not shave. दाढी पिढी करायची काही जरूरत नाही. So you can at least save that trouble for yourself. पण तिथे 3-3 महिन्यांनी बदलतात. Otherwise you'll go mad. because it's absolutely a crazy terrain. आपली सर्वच सुरुवातीला आय टोल्ड यू देयर वॉज अन ॲडव्हान्स माउंटेनिअरिंग दॅट वेंट ऑन अ रेकी. त्याच्यानंतर द फर्स्ट युनिट वी सेंड, आय थिंक इट वॉज 9 कुमाऊ रेजिमेंट विच वॉज सेंड देअर. आणि रेजिमेंटमध्ये जे 1000 लोक असतात ते 900 लोक परत आले विथ फ्रॉस्टबाईट्स अँड चिलब्लेन्स अँड ऑल काइंड ऑफ विंटर इंजुरीज. टेरिबल. तेव्हा इक्विपमेंट फार बेकार होता. आता वी हॅव द बेस्ट इक्विपमेंट. अँड again, there in that terrain, not everything can go by road. So a lot of things have to be airdropped. Even all the food, everything is airdropped. Road access is very limited. But equipment-wise, everybody is now well equipped. We have the latest gear to protect. Yes.
अजून आय हॅव अ फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन. जरा वेअर्ड वाटेल, पण बिकॉज रिसोर्सेस वर लेस, तुमच्या बाकीच्या खाण्यामध्ये कधी रेशनिंग होतं का या एरियाजमध्ये? किंवा बाकीची जी बेसिक कामं असतात, लॉन्ड्री किंवा इतर गोष्टी, यासाठी लोक डेझिग्नेटेड असतात की हाऊ डज इट वर्क?
Okay, so one is the way we are organized. एक आमच्याकडे एक ऍडमिन कंपनी असते आणि ऍडमिन कंपनीमध्ये ऑल द सपोर्ट स्टाफ इज देअर. ओके, सो देर इज अ सेंट्रल प्रोव्हिजन फॉर अ लॉन्ड्री. Somebody will do the complete washing, ironing, shining, all those things. Yeah, so that is taken care of. Though that is limited in a field area, and field area anyway you're not supposed to be in your pressed iron clothes because you're in the war clothes. So you're in combat. So in the combat gear there is no question of ironing and all that, right? So those limitations are there. So similarly, we have all skills available within the administrative company. So whether it is drivers, plumbers, cleaners, sweepers, धोबीज, कुक्स, हे सगळे आहेत ना. सो दे इज ऑल कन्झर्वेन्सी स्टाफ. तो आमच्याकडे असतो प्रत्येक ह्याच्यासाठी. सो दे आर ऑल ॲलोकेटेड. एव्हरी कंपनी विल हॅव देअर ओन मेस, दे विल हॅव वन कुक अँड वन बार्बर्स आर देअर. बट ऑल दीज पीपल आर कॉम्बॅटंट्स. म्हणजे दे ऑल अंडरगो ट्रेनिंग. इन टाइम्स ऑफ वॉर दे विल टेक अ रायफल अँड दे विल बी विथ यू. बट देअर प्रोफेशन, देअर ट्रेड, the trade is they picked up this particular trade. Okay, I will do plumbing and I will do this. So tasa to support system asto. The other question you asked is there a shortage of resources, right? So the basic stuff is all there. There is no question of any shortage in that, and there is a mechanism to make sure that you are well equipped in terms of arms, ammunition, and all the other equipment. The food part is sometimes difficult in field area. फ्रेश रेशन वगैरे मिळत नाही. So what they do is they compensate by giving a lot of dry rations and dry fruits and biscuits and chocolates and all that. So there is no dearth of that. Lots of butter and jam and this that. भरपूर असतं सगळं. फक्त काय होतं, फॉर एक्झाम्पल एग्स, अंडे जे आहेत ना, तर ते अंडे एअरड्रॉप करताना ब्रेकेज असतात. Each jawan is authorized 7 eggs per day. Okay, which is hell of a lot. So 7 eggs. How can you eat 7 eggs? 2 for breakfast, 2 for lunch, 2 for dinner. Still, you will have 1 left. So you would have ande koni khat nahi. But anyway, they are authorized that, and okay, those are eggetarian. So people who don't eat meat will get 7 eggs. People who eat meat is a different thing. So there's all that categorization is there. So airdrop kartana, obviously there are breakages. And when there are breakages, then sometimes there is a shortage. But that is made up in other ways. But otherwise, yes, the army is well looked after, and like they say, the army marches on its stomach, so they better not do anything about food. And even fresh, we call it MOH, which is meat on hoof. But so that also comes on in aircrafts, and that is also airdropped. And then the bakras are cut, and people get meat. But there is, this fresh and meat and all these things are little erratic because of obvious reason. But otherwise, they are compensated and they are well looked after. So, hope that answers two parts to your question.
Basically, soldiers and officers are focused on their training. Baki everything is taken care of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ata pratyeka's, I don't know, there is a concept of Batty. Earlier they were called Batman. Now they're called Sahayak. Okay. So each officer gets one Batman. So I have one guy who's my, personal Batman, my personal Sahayak. तो माझं सगळं काम करतो. आय डोंट हॅव टू वरी अबाउट माय युनिफॉर्म. आई डोंट हॅव टू वरी अबाउट एनीथिंग. ही मेक श्योर कौन सा परेड में जाना है. ही पुट्स द कंप्लीट यूनिफॉर्म, पॉलिशेस द शूज, टू द एक्सटेंट तो ब्रशवर टूथपेस्ट काढून पण ठेवेल तुमच्यासाठी. तो सकाळी गरम चहा आणून तुम्हाला उठवतो. एव्हरीथिंग ही डज. मॅटी ही इज लाईक युअर ब्रदर. So he's always with you even during war. So he knows what are your likes and dislikes. So if you forget something, he'll make sure that it's there with you. So that's a traditional system. It's no longer that kind of I think strong today. थोडंसं त्याच्यात डायल्युशन झालेलं आहे. Because some people misused this facility. त्याच्यामुळे मग ते त्यांनी जरा हे केलेलं आहे. But that is something that is very valuable. Because you don't have to worry about all the administrative stuff. You just focus on the work. So that's a good you asked that question, so I could tell you about Batman. And that's
interesting.
And that's a facility only for the army. Air Force and Navy मध्ये नाही आहे हे सगळं. Air Force guys, if there are 10 bachelors staying in a row, they will have 2 civilian servants. They'll not have competence looking after them. पण हे आर्मी मध्ये आहे.
क्विक अजून एक छोटा फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन. यू सेड दॅट सपोर्ट स्टाफलाही थोडंसं कॉम्बॅट ट्रेनिंग असतं, सो त्यांनाही डेली करावं लागतं की त्यांचं एकदा ट्रेनिंग झालंय आणि दे आर डन विथ इट?
Yeah, so there are 3 training cycles in a year, like that I mentioned, and you're supposed to attend 2 of them. But for these people, it's compulsory to attend 1. They have to go through the training cycle. They have to go to the range and fire. They have to wear their battle rig. This सगळं करावं लागतं. Yeah, Shruti, thanks for asking those questions. Yeah. Any more?
इथलं फूड कसं असतं? Do you get like nice, good food? Do you have complaints about that?
No. See, food is it's a function of the cook. Okay, so the best cook is there for the officers' mess. And therefore, so we have to make demand and tell them, aise banao, waisa banao, and they do a good job, a very good job. So, Jeva's no complaint. Garam fulka bhi dete hai, and choices of vegetables and meat and egg the way you want it, So the food is a very important aspect of army life. So everything moves around food. So even when we plan operation, the way it is planned is हम लोग breakfast साथ में लेके निकलेगा, lunch के लिए यहाँ रुकेगा, dinner के लिए वापस आएगा. I mean the whole description of the whole thing is around breakfast, lunch and dinner. So that is sacrosanct. You tell the guys, boss, खाना मिलने वाला है. Very, very important. Yeah. So we have another drill in the officers' mess. There is something called, I think this is the fallout of the British times. It's called a dinner night. तुम्ही बघितलं असेल की ते, काटा चमचा and all that. So there is a particular way of laying the table. प्लेट कुठे असणार, कुठले चमचे कुठे, कुठले आतमध्ये, कुठले बाहेर, सूपचा चमचा वेगळा. How do you deal with a 5-course dinner? So all these things are practiced. We have a thing called a dinner night. With the dinner night, we are supposed to wear a dinner patrol, and go for that formal dinner. And obviously, there'll be some visitor coming that day. So in his honor, we have the dinner night. So he's sitting in one head of the table. Your commanding officer is sitting at the other head of the table. And there's a lot of formality there. So we raise a toast. आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर ते कोर्स मील खायची आणि त्याच्यानंतर when the senior most guy has closed his plate. So the way we close the plate is fork आणि spoon open, face up. असे सरळ आम्ही ठेवतो प्लेट. Okay. That means you close. So when the senior guy has closed the plate, everybody will just stop eating. That's it. End of the meal. Finished. Nobody eats after that.
It's 2:00.
So then,
Sorry.
so sometimes we used to really stay hungry आणि मग मागे जाऊन मेस मध्ये जाऊन जे काय पाहिजे ते डायरेक्टली भांड्यातून खायचं. But on the table, so we have to have this discipline and maintain exact decorum in terms of हात कुठे वापरायचा, कुठे नाही वापरायचा. What should be had with fork. So that day we make sure that the cook doesn't make some, greasy chicken, which is very difficult to eat with a fork and spoon. But then it becomes a torture. So anyway, that's another interesting thing. So if you make a visit to NDA sometime, they also take you around the mess. So तेव्हा ते दाखवतात असं की बाबा आमचं डिनर डिसिप्लिन, आमचं लंच डिसिप्लिन असं असतं. Yeah, so that's about.
परत कधीतरी आर्मी एटिकेट्स बद्दल पण बोला, म्हणजे इफ नॉट आज नंतर कधीतरी इट विल बी इंटरेस्टिंग बिकॉज नॉट मेनी पीपल नो अबाउट इट.
Yeah, there are a lot of these etiquettes, and I think they're interesting to some extent, surely.
सो सिन्स वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट फूड, असं कधी झालं का की आम्ही आता जंगलात गेलोय मग काहीतरी इकडेच शोधून खाऊ वगैरे असं केलं का तुम्ही कधी?
Good question, Gauri. So in jungle warfare, typically, what happens? तिथे म्हणजे you have to what is called surviving off the land, you know. So there we are given some training in terms of what kind of plants we can look at and break and eat and how to preserve ration. तर ते सगळं शिकवतात आणि living off the land is one of the things that we do. So while we are taught to kill easy prey, which is edible, we are also taught snakes. So you can catch and eat snakes. So I just want to tell you about snakes, not the other stuff. So मग साप पकडायसाठी ते तुम्हाला ती काठी वाय शेपची वगैरे असते ती शिकवतात कशी करायची आणि स्नेक पकडायचा आणि पकडून त्याला ऑब्व्हियसली विथ वॉट एव्हर यू कॅन किल द फेस ऑफ द स्नेक विथ अ स्टोन और बट ऑफ अ रायफल. त्याच्यानंतर तो स्नेक मेल्यानंतर त्याला we have a knife, so we basically wash the snake in available water and then we cut the snake in 6 इंचेचे छोटे छोटे तुकडे करतो आम्ही आणि then with a knife we cut the skin peel off करतो. मग त्यातलं असं muscular part is remaining, so then we take these small pieces आणि मग एक असं मोठं लीफ असतं ना आपलं लाईक people tree, you have a big leaf or banana leaf. So whatever leaves you find, we take butter, we get a lot of butter. So butter टाकतो आपण त्याच्यावर असे चाकूने बहुत थोडेसे हे करतो, त्याच्यात बटर टाकतो, मग त्या लीफ मध्ये आम्ही त्याला गुंडाळतो आणि मग माती घेतो आणि माती चिखल आणि मातीचा गोळा त्याच्या भोवती तयार करायचा असं. इट विल बिकम अ नाईस बॉल ऑफ मड इनसाइड लीफ, त्याच्यामध्ये स्नेक अँड देन वी पुट दॅट इन अ फायर आणि एक 20 मिनिटांत 10-20 मिनिटांनंतर तो काढायचा बाहेर आणि ते the mud will break off drying, but what will come inside is absolutely delicious. And then you eat the soft portion of the snake. Okay, it tastes like any other nice meat, So that is what they teach us, and that is what then we liked the method so much that we started cooking everything like that. Even बटाटा घेऊन त्याला असं आपण तो बटर लावून त्या पानात टाकायचं आणि त्याला माती लावायची आणि टाकली. That also looks tastes very good. So surviving the jungle is one of the things that we do. आणि आता तर म्हणजे operationally there are not many occasions when you have to do this because we are well supported and there is always a administrative unit that is behind you to support you. So sometimes yes, we have to manage. I think the example that I have given in that video, East Ladakh's patrolling cha, so there we had a problem because they were stuck in a place and we had packed lunch and that is what we had to have for lunch and dinner and breakfast. So so those kind of exigencies, there are problems when there is a need to manage, but otherwise so surviving in the jungle is one of the things, and snake is something that we eat. Also आमची जे आता Assam regiment मी म्हणलं ना, so we have Nagas, Mizos, Manipuris, Arunachal. So these are all people from the jungle. So they eat anything. In fact, they eat dogs. So we were feared because people with pets were very paranoid. They were petrified कि अरे Assam regiment आ गया. Better be careful with the dogs. Anyway, so I remember in Siliguri we were there. आणि असे आम्ही बाहेर बसायचो. In the evening we used to sit on in the open air. And no lights, so we used to have some candle or something on the table. So one of the officer called Rengma, he's an Naga guy. So what he used to do, म्हणजे आता जंगलात तुम्ही बसलाय तर ते आपले फुलपाखरं वगैरे येतात ना उडत, ड्रॅगन्स अँड ऑल दॅट. सो ही यूज्ड टू टॅप अँड किल देम ऑन द टेबल आणि मग तो असं पंख काढायचा त्याचे आणि मग तो कॅन्डलवर असं असं करायचं आणि तोंडात टाकायचं. So those guys are like crazy. They eat anything that is moving. So that was another thing about Assam regiment. So I'll tell you, even they love fishing. ते लडाखमध्ये मच्छरदाणी घेऊन जायचे आणि मग पाण्यात मासे पकडायचे आणि मासे घेऊन यायचे. So all those kinds of things happen. Yeah. We're done with the food topic. Yeah. Okay. Can you see this aircraft? It is called AN-12. So when you're in Ladakh, what happens is that in the winters, the roads are closed. Dojila Pass is blocked, so you cannot go beyond Srinagar. So you cannot go by road. So it's almost 4 to 5 months, 6 months. The roads are blocked. So the only way to go is by air. So when you have to go by air, we typically report to Chandigarh. आणि चंदीगडला जे एअरपोर्ट आहे तिथे आम्ही तिथून वी टेक अ फ्लाईट अँड इट टेक्स अस टू Leh, vice versa. So when you want to get out of Leh, you have to take this flight. So now Air India is running some flights. Delhi, Leh ahe, Leh, Srinagar ahe. Those are on. But for the army, this was the aircraft that we were using. It is called AN-12. According to the Russians, it is obsolete, but we were using it. हे propeller aircraft आहे. आणि so what happened? So I'm making a journey. So I go and I sit in this aircraft, and then I find the air corporal coming and literally हाताने असं पंखा फिरवणार, मग ग्रर फिरायला लागणार, and then all 4 propellers will run, and then there'll be a big racket of the whole plane shaking. Okay, here the plane is looking very pretty. It doesn't look this pretty. आणि मग ते शेक झाल्यानंतर मग ते तयार fly, ready to fly. Then the corporal will come inside, and then he close the door, and then he'll say, "Okay, guys, now everybody go behind." Everybody go behind. Means seats nastatas. It's like a open hall. So everybody goes behind. Means all of us have to move to the tail. And the reason for that is that the aircraft has to lift. So because of the weight, it will not lift. So everybody is behind. And then with some, we can actually imagine with great difficulty the aircraft is kind of taking off and then lifting and then becoming straight. मग ते सरळ झालं की ते म्हणाले ओके नाउ कम बॅक आणि मग आम्ही सगळे परत जाणार आणि तिथे 2 केबल्स असतात. You hold the cable and you stand. There are no seats. And the worst part is the whole aircraft is not pressurized. So therefore, the moment it goes up, then your ears start paining like mad because the pressure gets to you. So you have one hand on the cable and you have the other hand on your nose because then you're trying to blow through your ears to keep them open. And you're just wishing that they kadi posnar. So it's a horrible flight, but yes, it is adventurous. And here amala, this is the only means of commuting in the winters. And the interesting part was, so I used to go to it happened to me so many times. You go to Chandigarh and then you go and you report to this aircraft. So sometimes they'll tell you, ki, Acha, no weather clearance, so go back. No flight. And the next day you go, they'll say, okay. So everybody sits in the flight and about to take off, and then it says no clearance. So again you unpack in. And sometimes you go to Chandigarh, एक चक्कर मारताना परत येतं की बाबा पुढे जात नाहीये. कधी it went all the way to Leh, but could not land. So again we came back. So like that I have spent 2 to 3 weeks in Chandigarh on duty, but not able to reach. So these kind of things also happen. But anyway, it's good because Chandigarh is a beautiful city. आणि तिकडे काय 17 sector and 26 sector are popular. जसं आपल्याकडे MG road आणि हे तसं. So we got to know Chandigarh also quite a bit. So hey, this is a very amazing example. I don't know whether the aircraft are still there. I think they're still there, but they're not used for commuting. I think they're only used for equipment. There AN-12. Then there are other aircraft. There are helicopters. So I think hats off to Indian pilots. They say that the Russians said that how come you're still flying them because these are completely obsolete. So I think we have pilots who kind of look outside the window and fly the plane, and not the automation is not the only thing that they use. असं म्हणतात. And of course, Leh airport, I remember when we were there was no strip पण नव्हती तिकडे एअरपोर्टला. तिकडे काय होतं की वायर मेश, मोठ्या जाड क्वालिटीची वायर मेश अशी टाकायची तिकडे, त्याच्यावर ते लँड करायचं. इट वॉज अ क्रेझी थिंग. Now, of course, things have changed. I think it's become almost like an international airport, and a lot of flights go there. Yeah, so I thought I'll tell you that. And last thing I wanted to tell you was about church mandir. Okay, so ithe, so like I told you that we don't discuss religion, but we are religious people, and we respect everybody's religion. We are the most kind of secular organization in the country. So आमच्याकडे Christian troops असतील तर we'll have church. If we have Muslim troops, we'll have a mosque. And for the Hindus, we'll have a temple. So every Sunday there is a church mandir parade. And the church mandir parade we have to compulsorily go. But we have a choice whether to go to church or to go to mandir. So obviously, if you don't want to remove your shoes and all that, then you go to the church. Okay. And you want to listen to some nice guitaring, then you go to the church. Right? बिकॉज मंदिर म्हणजे तुम्हाला बूट फिट काढून जावं लागतं. ठीक आहे. दी ओनली टाइम वी गो टू द मंदिर इज वेन द प्रसाद वॉज गुड, की आता आज कळलं इकडे प्रसाद चांगला आहे, चला आज मंदिरात जाऊ आपण. सो दॅट वॉज द थिंग. या, सो नाव so what happens in the army is that this is taken seriously. It's like a parade, so we have to be there on that reason. So now the interesting thing is that if the panditji is on holiday, then the padri will do the panditji job, and if the padri is on holiday, then the panditji will become father so and so. So that's very interesting. In the Pune CME मध्ये all religion training होतं तिकडे. All these religious people, all the trainers, all the religious heads go there to get trained. And army is the only organization where now I believe they don't even have a church and a mandir. They have a Sarva Dharma Sansthan. So they have a one unit which is for all religions. That's what I believe. Anyway, the reason I want to show you this is that आपल्याकडे one example is आपल्याकडे हे होतं जन्माष्टमी. जन्माष्टमीला कृष्ण जन्म होतो, right? So all of us are in the mandir 11:30 in the night. आणि 12 वाजता कृष्ण जन्म असतो. तो त्याच्यासाठी पंडितजी इज ऑल इन हिज बेस्ट धोती अँड बेस्ट दिस अँड ही इज रेडी फॉर द पूजा. पूजाची सगळी तयारी वगैरे झालेली असते. एव्हरीबडी कम्स इन. कमांडिंग ऑफिसर ऑल्सो कम्स 2 minutes बिफोर अँड सिट्स इन द फ्रंट. आणि एक्झॅक्टली फ्यू सेकंड्स बिफोर 12 वाजता द पंडितजी विल कम टू सावधान. सावधान म्हणजे असा, आणि विल से सर कृष्ण को जन्म देने की आज्ञा चाहता हूँ श्रीमान. सीओ विल से अच्छा गो अहेड. then the Krishna Janam will happen. So nothing moves in a unit without the commanding officer's okay. Not even Krishna can take Janam. So that's how things happen. Yeah. So I wanted to just share that, and that's actually all that I had to share. If there are questions, then we can. Yes. So this is Tagda Raho. Which is the salutation that we use in the Assam regiment. Most other regiment will say Jai Hind or Ram Ram. Jai Hind Sahab, Ram Ram Sahab. We are the only weird guys who say Tagda Rao Sahab. No? So the Jawan will say Tagda Rao Sahab and I'll say Tagda Rao. So, it's both ways. So even when we salute, we say Tagda Rao. We salute and we say Tagda Rao. So that's our salutation. So with that, yeah, I think I'm done with what I had to share. So if you guys have questions, I'll be very happy.
कमाल फार भारी.
एक नंबर.
Thank you.
सगळ्यांकडनं सॅल्यूट.
खूपच छान, खरंच. तगडा रहो.
खूप भारी होतं.
तगडा राहो.
कमाल भारी. मग गौरी कधी झाली? कुठे असताना झाली का ती आर्मी नंतर झाली?
अरे नाही.
मी ऍक्च्युली हाच प्रश्न विचारणार होतो आता.
No. So after this, then I went to Binaguri. Binaguri मध्ये our op role was in Bhutan. So when I was in Binaguri, that time Gauri was born. Actually, I was here in school in Pune. So Sandhya was with me when she was pregnant. आणि ती I think 8व्या महिन्यात होती तेव्हा I had to go back. So our course finished, and then luckily we could stay together for 4.5 months. I was doing that intelligence staff officers course in Pune. So तो झाल्यानंतर मी गेलो परत, and then she was due. I knew that. आणि मग Gauri was born, and then I was in Binaguri आणि ते असं field area. So I got the telegram. She was born on the 14th. I got the telegram on the 17th. That Gauri was born. आणि त्याच्यानंतर माझी सुट्टी घेऊन मी येईपर्यंत गौरी वॉज 1.5 months old.
Oh.
So I saw her when she was 1.5 months old. So here sometimes we complain की अरे मला बर्थडेला जाता नाही आलं, असं झालं. I was not there for the birth only. That's crazy. Yeah, so those.
मग गौरी कधी आली होती का तिकडे?
नाही, गौरी नाही. Too small. Too small. Yeah.
So she doesn't have. By that time.
She doesn't. By the time she became big. Yeah.
आय थिंक माझं नाव काय ठेवायचं हे पत्रातनं ठरवलं तुम्ही, राईट?
अरे हा, ते मी आय कॅन शेअर दॅट. या ऍक्च्युली कसं आहे, सो वी गॉट मॅरिड इन लखनौ. आणि मग लखनौमध्ये आय टोल्ड यू वी हॅड अ ग्रेट टाइम आणि येते. आणि मग देन आय गॉट ट्रान्सफर टू लदाख. आता लदाखला गेल्यानंतर what is the way to communicate? The way to communicate is letters. So we really enjoyed communicating with letters. No phone, no nothing. मग आम्ही पत्र लिहायचो चक्क. hundreds of letters I must have written and hundreds of, because तिथे त्या पिक्चर मध्ये दाखवतात ना की संदेश आते आणि ते चिठ्ठी केले होते, ऍक्च्युअली असं होतं फील्ड एरियामध्ये. ऍक्च्युअली यू आर वेटिंग फॉर द लेटर्स, बिकॉज दॅट इज युअर ओनली कनेक्शन विथ द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. सो यू वेटिंग फॉर, सो वी रिअली हॅड अ गुड टाइम. आणि मजा काय व्हायची की मी जे पत्र लिहायचो, द लेटर विच वॉज रिटन लेटर यूज टू लँड अप बिफोर द लेटर विच वॉज रिटन बिफोर. सिक्वेन्स मध्ये गडबड व्हायची. मग मी स्टार्टेड नंबरिंग. त्याचा नंबर मी तुला 44 पाठवला, तुला 43 आला नसेल तर त्यांनी इमॅजिन दॅट इज वन मोर बिफोर दिस.
Interesting. So sweet.
Yeah, so we had a great time. Okay, then when Gauri was born, I was in Binaguri, and then I was doing refereeing in a wrestling event, wrestling competition. I had gone there as a referee. So तिथे मग सजेशन आलं की आपण should we name her Kashmira. I told her not at all, because one of the wrestler is Kashmira Singh. तो कुस्ती खेळतोय आणि तू Kashmira सांग. We decided against that. I said Kashmira नको. Yeah, so that was our means of communication, and then Gauri got everything through my stories and her stories, and so she is not actually there. But then what happens is that the army thing is bonding is so strong, and we are in Pune. So आमच्या युनिटचे almost each and every person has come and visited us at home, or we meet in the club. आणि आता एक continuous चालूच असतं. So there is a good bonding, and Gauri has been part of many of those parties and many of those get-togethers. So she has some rub off from the army style.
काश्मीरावाली स्टोरी मला पण माहिती नव्हती हा काका.
कशी?
काश्मीरावाली स्टोरी मला पण माहिती नव्हती.
नव्हती ना शिरीन? हा बरोबर. कश्मीरा सिंग नको.
So तुम्ही आर्मी तुमच्याकडे बऱ्यापैकी क्लासिफाईड इन्फॉर्मेशन असते, राईट? दॅट यू डोंट लाईक डायव्हल्ज. ती आफ्टर यू रिटायर आताही तुमच्याकडे काही असे सोर्सेस असतात का, ही सम इन्फॉर्मेशन दॅट यू नो बट अदर्स डोंट?
Yeah. So confidential information, typically as an officer, you would have some information which you are not supposed to part. But it is dated. After a particular date, that doesn't remain confidential anymore. It becomes invalid. So, sensitive information which is kind of live forever, hardly. I mean, nothing really. But there should be no misinformation. So, as a veteran, I still have the responsibility of not spreading any misinformation. Incorrect information, so that's the only thing. Because confidential is a kind of, but surely, I mean, confidential information you cannot divulge at any cost, and that's one of the obvious security promises that you take. Yeah. So if you guys have time, I think we are already 1.5 hours. Yeah, so maybe we have 7-8 minutes. I'll take question, but I just want to give you a little flavor of that song, regimental song. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Vrishali.
No, yes, ते आधी बघूया.
आसाम रेजिमेंटची छान असतं.
हे पण हे कसं ऐकू येतं? Okay, can you guys see the screen?
नाही, म्हणजे not of the song. We can see the presentation.
कर तिथे कर. नाही, व्हिडिओ दाखवायचा. हो. Okay, I'll stop share that and I will share.
तुम्ही क्रोम टॅब शेअर केला तर होईल ते, म्हणजे ऐकू येईल आम्हाला.
युट्यूबवर आहे का? मग क्रोम टॅब.
अच्छा, लेफ्ट झालं का?
किंवा विंडो.
हा, आता स्क्रीन नाही दिसत आहे.
But I certainly can't hear anybody.
Hello?
Oh, you can't hear ka? We
No,
can
I
hear.
can't hear you. Okay. No, I can see you guys, but I think the voice is gone somewhere.
मग पुन्हा जॉईन करा पाहिजे तर.
हां.
ना
किंवा हे नाही झालेलं ना, म्यूट नाही झालेलं तुमच्याकडे ना?
नाही आपल्याला ऐकू येतंय ना त्यांना
आपल्याला ऐकू येतंय.
सॉरी म्यूट म्हणजे स्पीकर म्यूट केला जाईल.
दोनदा दिसतात पण.
अनम्यूट कर पण सरी आय कॅन्ट हिअर.
आता येतंय का ऐकू? तुम्ही परत एकदा
तुमच्या कानाचं काढून बघ.
हो 2 मिनिट
काढून म्हणजे डिस्कनेक्ट करू.
त्याच्यामध्ये
एक मिनिट काहीतरी
किंवा हा त्या हेडसेट जर बॅटरी वगैरे गेली असेल तर
आता तुला हे शेअर करावं लागेल. कुठे गेलं?
हे होतं शेअर राईट.
नाही बट आता यू वॉन्ट टू शेअर द व्हिडिओ.
I want to hear the video. So how do I get the video here?
ऍक्च्युली हेडसेटचाच प्रॉब्लेम असेल काका, कारण मला आवाज वेगळा येतोय आधीपेक्षा. सो आता मायक्रोफोन चेंज झालाय.
व्हिडिओ इथे 2 स्क्रीन.
हो 2 तुमचे 2 हे आहेत.
हो
2 येतात.
नाही, माझे 2 एंट्री आहेत ना, आता मी करतो कॅन्सल करतो. आय अंडरस्टूड व्हॉट यू सेइंग. हाऊ डू आय लीव लाईक दिस, करेक्ट? ओके, नाउ आय एम आउट.
येस.
आय स्टील इन.
आता ऐकू येते का तुला?
तू 2 ठिकाणाहून जॉईन केलं का?
तुमचं आता ओरिजिनल सेशन अजूनही आहे. तुमचं ऍडिशनल सेशन गेलं. ओके, हे पण गेलं का?
हो दोन्ही गेले का त्यांचे?
गेले आता. हा
ओके.
तोपर्यंत काकू तुम्ही सांगू शकता तुमच्या काही आठवणी
हो.
असतील.
हो, माझा ऍक्च्युली तोच प्रश्न होता की ऍट सम पॉइंट काकू तुम्ही बिंग अन आर्मी वाईफ तुमचे एक्सपिरियन्सेस शेअर कराल का?
काकू तुम्ही म्युटेड आहात बहुतेक का? तुम्ही काही बोलत असाल तर आम्हाला ऐकू नाही येते.
Hello.
हा, now we can-
आता येते.
I had a wonderful time in the army. Wives are treated royally. They're giving the best of treatment. Everybody gets up. Basically, once you enter the mess, suppose there's a party, and when you enter the mess, all the gents stand up. The moment a lady enters the mess. So your respect totally. No one is sitting down. Everybody stands up. And if the senior, it depends. If when the senior lady comes in, then we also get up. So even for the ladies, the seniority is there. So it is very good. Always lady is offered a drink first. Food is offered to her first. So everything, all priorities are given to a lady, and they are really, really respected well. And Ladakh मध्ये आता weather होतं. It was such harsh weather. So acclimatization there for me was a problem because of the height. Till 10,000 feet till Ladakh, I was fine. But in Chumathang, where the terrain is rough, every 10 steps I had to stop and breathe. Stand there, breathe for a little while, and then again walk a further 10 steps. So just to go to the dagger hut used to take such a long time for that one hot bath once a week or once a month, whatever we used to get. It was really worth it. But then even going to the mess, the mess was uphill. So climbing was an issue because we are all वॉटर लेवलच्या इथे आपण राहतो. सो लेडीज फ्रॉम हिमाचल प्रदेश किंवा तिकडचे सगळे नॉर्थ इंडियन साइड दोज लेडीज अडॅप्ट व्हेरी वेल टू द सराउंडिंग्स बिकॉज दे आर यूज टू द टेरेन अँड दॅट अल्टिट्यूड. We are not used to that kind of weather. So,
And after living in Ladakh and in those conditions, she's worried about the cold in the Bay Area. She's like on the heater the whole day.
तर जसं आम्ही त्या 10 बाय 10 खोलीत राहायचो तर ते काळ्या ब्लँकेट्स होते. इट यूज टू बी अ लिटिल ग्लूमी. जुने मॅगझिन्स आणून मी त्याच्यापासून कोलाज करायचे मोठे मोठे. Just to make the room look colorful.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it used to be very gloomy inside because just a 10 by 10 feet of glass on top from where the light used to come.
So that's about it. So you had to self entertain yourself and थोडं पॉझिटिव्ह बनायला काय काय गोष्टी करायला लागतात. खेळता वगैरे तर तिथे आम्हाला यायचं नाही बिकॉज वी वर नॉट दॅट फिट इनफ टू डू ऑल दॅट. त्यामुळे
थँक्यू सो मच बिकॉज अदरवाइज शी विल हायजॅक माय सेशन.
काका तुम्ही म्युटेड आहात. आम्हाला तुमचा आवाज काकूंच्या माईक मधनं येतोय.
All right, so now I'm unmuted, but now with the unmute, this thing is also gone. Regimental song. Okay, here it is. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just play this song. It's I think 1.5 minutes.
तसं नसतं ते.
Great. So I just wanted to,
फार भारी, फार भारी.
Wording is very simple. बदलूराम का बदन जमीन के नीचे है, हमें उसका रेशन मिलता है. That's stupid. And that the same thing is the whole song is only that many times. But the interesting part is बदलूराम का बदन जमीन का नीचे है. This whole sentence is broken down for whistling. So the first time you sing, you say बदलूराम का बदन जमीन, and the उरलेलं जे आहे ते, so you whistle. The next time you sing, then you don't go up to Zameen. You say Badlu Ram, and then you do the rest of it is whistling. And lastly, it is Badlu, and then everything is whistling. And the last one is only whistling. So those are the variations. The sentence is the same. But the whole story is that there was a Sipai called Badlu Ram in the 1962 Chinese War. In fact, I should also tell you that Chinese War, one of the reasons we lost is, like I told you, that it was not occupied. But on the Eastern Front, we lost because of lack of administrative support. So the people in the front, they were not, the lines were cut off, and therefore they were not able to get the supplies on time. So that's one of the backgrounds that I want to give you. So Badlu Ram was one of the Sipais who died in the war, and the quartermaster is supposed to keep a tally. की बाबा किती लोक आहेत आणि किती लोकांचं रेशन घ्यायचंय वगैरे वगैरे. So he purposely or whatever, he did not strike off Badlu Ram from the roads, and he kept drawing ration. Day after day, and a few months the ration kept coming. And actually, when the rations kind of stopped coming in, it was the extra ration that came because of Badlu Ram that saved so many other people, in that week of trouble. So therefore, the whole thing, it's a blessing that Badlu Ram's ration was drawn by this quartermaster. So Badlu Ram का बदन जमीन के नीचे है, फिर भी हमें उसका रेशन मिलता है. That is the song, and it's actually ridiculous meaning, but it has become a hit. And the way it is played, it releases so much of josh. We saw those guys stamping like that. So every time we meet, we have Badlu Ram, we have to sing. Everybody sings, including families. Fun singing, whistling, And तुम्ही जर Google or YouTube search केला, you will get variations of Badlu Ram. You'll also get the story, narrated very well in terms of this whole story of Badlu Ram. Yeah, so I think I'm very glad I could also tell you about the song.
भारी भारी मस्त आहे. ग्लोरी ग्लोरी मॅन युनायटेड सॉन्ग ह्याच्यावरनं ढापल्यासारखं वाटतं मला. ते पण साधारण असंच आहे ना, ग्लोरी ग्लोरी मॅन युनायटेड. मी नीट म्हणत नाही पण कारण हे खूप जुनं असणार आहे, आय एम शुअर.
आवाज का नाही?
भारी.
सॉरी आशिष, आय एम नॉट हिअरिंग यू.
ओ सर, कोणालाच ऐकू येत नाही?
नाही, मला येत आहे.
ओके. सॉरी
आशिष, गो अहेड. I couldn't hear.
Echo येतोय.
हॅलो. नाही, आशिष बाबा म्हणतात ते गाणं म्हणतात.
गौरीचा पण हे चालू आहे मायक्रोफोन, आय थिंक त्यामुळे. हा, तो म्यूट झाला आता. आता काका तुम्ही अनम्यूट केलं तर काही प्रॉब्लेम. आणि काकूंचा पण चालू आहे मायक्रोफोन.
Yeah.
तो
Now,
पण प्रॉब्लेम.
yeah. So I think I have switched off my microphone because I was not able to hear you, but now I can hear you.
हा.
Yeah. So it is good.
ओके. काही नाही. दॅट वॉज जस्ट एक फुटबॉलचा क्लब आहे, त्यांचं गाणं पण ह्याच्यासारखंच वाटलं. सो माझी कॉमेंट होती की ते गाणं ह्याच्यावरनं घेतल्यासारखं वाटतंय. Nothing.
Yeah. There are some limited martial tunes, so I think everybody copies from here and there. I am sure. आणि हे जे आमचं गाणं आहे, that is a song called Hallelujah. You know, there are multiple versions of Hallelujah, and there are some songs on this. I think American ह्याच्यात तुम्हाला मिळतील काही गाणी ह्याच्यात. कॉपी ट्यून, पण कसं आहे आता आमचे जे ट्रूप्स आहेत आसाम रेजिमेंटचे, so those are like very modernized guys. The Christianity reached there much before. And these troops are very modern troops if you compare them with Punjab regiment or any other regiment. So these guys are most of them speak English. They wear the latest trendy clothes. In fact, they say that fashion came to India through Mokokchung. Mokokchung is a place in Nagaland which is connected with Burma and that side. So fashion तिकडून येते आपल्या ईस्ट कडून. So these guys are all crazy guys. So we were the only battalion which had a rock band. So we were always in demand. कुठे पण गेलो आम्ही की our rock band used to kind of thrill everybody. And our other band used to be a pipe band. The pipers आमचे असायचे. In fact, I should tell you that when we got married in 83, the regiment sent 2 pipers to the wedding. And wherever we went, ते 2 pipe वाले आमच्या पुढे इकडे जायचे. It was great fun. Have that those pipes along. Yeah. The other example I should tell you, me 1977, 78, 79. When I got commissioned, I went to Shillong. And Shillong, there is a police bazaar and there is a Bada Bazaar. It's basically the market. So when I went to Bada Bazaar, I found that one is, of course, most of the women are running the shops because it's a matrilineal society. So all the guys are good for nothing. There's a drink and they're lying somewhere. And all the women are running the business and everything. So एका कोपऱ्यावर एक म्हातारा माणूस अशी वेस्टर्न हॅट घालून स्टूलवर बसला होता and he was singing country roads take me home and he is a beggar. Okay. He's singing country roads and he take me home and he's begging. I said, if beggars are this, westernized, a different country, Are advanced. They are really kind of, Johnnies are very smart guys. So that I to be part of Assam regiment and good fun we had there.
तुमच्याकडे अजूनही आर्मीचं आय कार्ड वगैरे काही असतं का? म्हणजे समथिंग दॅट
आय कार्ड नसतं. आय हॅव एन एक्स सर्व्हिसमॅन कार्ड.
अच्छा. Okay.
And card is where we need to utilize any facilities. So what I get now is, of course, no pension, but I get access to army canteen where stuff is available, and I get access to the clubs.
He plays golf every weekend.
So I'm a member of the RSI club, Rajendra Singh Institute, जे पुण्यात आहे, and obviously, like Mahesh is saying, so I'm lucky that I can go and play golf every weekend. We have a beautiful golf course. आणि दुसरं म्हणजे all these clubs are interconnected. So the US club in Colaba is also something that I have access to. So many clubs across the country. So those kind of things we get. And it's a great place to. I mean, golfing. The good thing is that I in the 4-ball that we have, 3 of us are coachmates. So we've gone through the Ragda together. So we have a completely different bonding. So we can meet and so the connection is very strong. It's a great career to have. So in fact, I would suggest that हे जे नवीन शॉर्ट सर्व्हिस येते 3 वर्षाचं, it should be encouraged to a lot of people can make use of that. आपले ड्राफ्ट सारखंच आहे ना, जसं इस्रायलमध्ये आहे 2 वर्षाचं कंपल्सरी. So that's a lot of good things to learn from them. So I personally had a good time. Of course, I could have continued and probably become a general or whatever and come out, but I chose otherwise. And I said, there's so much to life, let me explore. And so I've been a drifter No regrets at all. But yeah, one of the best times of my life was with the Indian Army, Assam Regiment. Yeah, that was a great time. Yeah, if I'd stayed longer, then probably Gauri and these people would have got, they would have had more fun because, like I said, the poor army guy is getting battered everywhere, but the wife and children have a great time. Because the children have access to all the facilities, and the wife is always treated like a queen. They have the best time. So if somebody's saying and having a doubt, should I get married to a Fauji? No question. Just go ahead and do it.
ऍक्च्युली ऑन दॅट लाईन अजून एक क्वेश्चन होता काका म्हणजे जस्ट वेन यू सेड राईट ना मला हा एक क्वेश्चन आला की आर्मी वाईव्स ना there's no specific training as such there, right? की तुम्ही mentally कसे strong होऊ शकता for it's a different life, it's a hard life, or it's a road less traveled, like you said. तर फौजींना जसं तुम्ही म्हणालात की त्या टाईपचं एक मेंटली स्ट्रॉंग केलं जातं. हाऊ डू आर्मी वाईव्स प्रिपेअर देमसेल्व्स फॉर दिस किंवा इवन द किड्स हाऊ इज दॅट एस्पेक्ट वर्क?
Women, I think, are smarter than men. They need lesser training. And all the training they need is given by senior officers' wives, free of cost. Effortlessly. आम्ही जबलपूरमध्ये होतो. I was in Jabalpur. And Sandhya, like a nice lady, used to get up in the morning, make my chai, bed tea banwachi. And then I used to go for my PT, And then by the time I came back, she used to be ready with the breakfast. And then she met with the other ladies, and next day she didn't get up. I said, "Hello, what happened?" She said, "No, you had to make your own tea." I should have get up in the morning. So she quickly got trained, with the other ladies.
The question is primarily around war-like situations. How do they mentally get prepared?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. So this is on the lighter side, but yes, you have a. Yeah, so they have a difficult time. But anyway, I am always reminded with the positive stuff. So, for example, when we got married, our honeymoon continued for almost 5 years because, it was meeting for a few months, then not meeting, then again, separating. So, it was great fun. Yeah, but in terms of the hardships, constantly packing and transferring and, so luggage, हे फार एक त्रासदायक असतं. तर ते सारखं करावं लागतं because you keep changing location. And the other is the risk of life and the risk of losing a partner. So that is very high, and I think that is something that there is no separate training provided anyway. Yeah, it's just that all these women get together and they figure out. In fact, when I was in Ladakh, we went for this exercise. So I was doing adjutant. So adjutant is a guy who's like a right hand man of the commanding officer. So commanding officer was a guy called Colonel A.K. Lakhani. A very smart guy. He was one of my role models. I used to really like him, and he was like my not guru, but yeah, he was one guy who kind of was giving me advice when I was getting married and all. So good chap. Colonel Lakhani, his wife is a doctor. She's in Delhi. So Colonel Lakhani was the commanding officer, and we were doing a defense exercise. When you do a defense exercise, the companies are all deployed in different places, but as a commanding officer, he kind of visits all the locations. And along with him, of course, I do all the planning and then I take him around. So we went to the first company on one day. Even the second day when we were going to the other company, I found that this guy was panting. He was not managing well. So I told him, "Sir, mat karo. Forget it. You don't have to do this because if you're unwell, then you're unwell. We'll get the RMO and we'll go back to the base camp." He refused. He said, "No, chalega." So somehow we reached the second company. Then third day we took a break. And fourth day he said, "No, abhi dusra company jana hai." So chalo. So again, when you're going, so somehow, that whole exercise, he managed to complete, and though not in the best of his health. So I supported him to whatever extent possible. But then we came back after that. After exercise, we came back. He was supposed to go on 2 months annual leave. So before going, he called me and the second in command to his cabin, and he said that I want to brief you that now I'm not going to be there for 2 months. So काय करायचं काय वगैरे वगैरे तसं त्यांनी briefing केलं. And then we told him, "Okay, come join us for dinner." He said, "No, I'll have dinner here only." So me and टुवेसी गेलो मेसमध्ये and we had our dinner and then we sent his dinner to his room. आणि मग आम्ही झोपलो आणि सकाळी मिडल ऑफ द नाईट 3 o'clock कमांडिंग ऑफिसर बैटी कम्स टू मी एंड सेज, "साहब जल्दी चलो, साहब का सीओ साहब का तबीयत खराब है." तो ऐसे यार तुम डॉक्टर को ले जाओ. तो बोला डॉक्टर ऑलरेडी उधर है. Then I scrambled into my dangri and I went and I saw that guy was lying on the floor and the doctor was trying to give him artificial respiration. He told me, "Okay, you hold your body and pump and I will give him mouth to mouth respiration." I try केलं. almost half an hour we were pumping, trying to revive. And then I saw his eyes were like marble, completely lifeless. So the guy passed away right there in front of me, and then it was all chaotic, and we had to inform his wife who was in Delhi, and then she came, and we had to do this whole Lieutenant Colonel passing away is. So in the army there are rules, So who are the pallbearers? So minimum it has to be a brigadier. So we had to get hold of 4 brigadiers, and we had to do the whole cremation exercise and all that. Yeah, so I'm just reminded of this, but yeah, so the ladies learn to deal with it, and then they pass on this. The other ladies would see similar things happening, Fauji is passing away, and then how to deal with that whole situation. So that lady is very much part of our communication group, WhatsApp group. त्याच्यानंतर थापलियाल, थापलियाल passed away. In fact, आमचे पुण्याचे 8 of us had joined the army from Pune. काही वाडिया कॉलेजचे होते, काही फर्ग्युसनचे होते. तर त्याच्यातले 4 guys are no more. And 4 guys are out.
They lost their lives.
They lost their lives.
On the ground.
On the ground. Some in ambush, some in accident, some in something else. So these things happen. So there is no training given for it, but yeah, it is known that once you have.
So ladies automatically become strong staying alone.
They are also used to what is called as separated family accommodation. प्रत्येक स्टेशन मध्ये एक SF accommodation एक colony असते. So all those people whose husbands are posted in the field area, they all stay together in a separated family accommodation. So they're used to living in that kind of a thing, and then I think the bonding happens differently. Anyway, so I don't want to end on this this note of doom. Correct. Yeah. So there is a brighter side, and I think today the risk of life is as good or as bad anywhere. I don't think it is more risky in the army. In fact, me just म्हणलं that I was there in the army for 10 years and there was no war. Okay. So armies are now being used for other work, internal security. So कोणीतरी खड्ड्यात पडला मुलगा, तर मग त्याला काढायसाठी ते आर्मीला बोलवतात. मग कुठेतरी पूर आला की मग आर्मी जाऊन सेव्ह करते. So that is the last resort. Yeah. That apart, we must also not forget that when this terrorist attack happened on the 26th of November, they had called in the special forces, and I think they did a brilliant job. It quietly came, and there was no political guy standing in saying, "Hey, let's do this." They came, they did their job, and they went. So that's the last stop. So any trouble, army guys are there. Good. So that's thank you so much, guys, for being so patient and asking so many questions. खरंच मजा वाटली, छान वाटलं बोलून, आणि मला छान opportunity मिळाली to relive my past great life.
Yes. Thank you सगळं आमच्याबरोबर शेअर केल्याबद्दल.
My pleasure.
हो, आम्हालाही खूप मजा आली.
खूप मजा आली आम्हाला.
खूप इन्फॉर्मेटिव्ह, आणि म्हणजे नो वन वी नो, सॉरी,
बोल.
नो वन दॅट वी नो क्लोजली इज असोसिएटेड विथ द आर्मी. सो खूपच इन्फॉर्मेटिव्ह होतं हे.
आणि किती व्हेरिड एक्सपिरियन्सेस आहेत, म्हणजे हाऊ मेनी एक्सपिरियन्सेस वन कॅन हॅव इन अ स्पॅन ऑफ सर्टन नंबर ऑफ इयर्स, राईट? लाईक how many terrains they can visit to, how many people they can be with, किती केवढं म्हणजे केवढं डेन्स एक्सपिरियन्स आहे, फारच तगडं. म्हणजे
Basically, you live a different life there. It's as good as a different life, and then you come back and live a civilian life. So in one lifetime, you are living two different lives.
Yeah, very true.
So bad. We have more questions, पण आपण in person भेटू त्यावेळेला.
Yeah, it's a way of life. I think this is a way of life. I think you guys are having a good time here in the Bay Area by bonding so well. I think it's a great idea to have people share their stories. Everybody has a story, and I think it's great. So I think even you guys should have take turns in sharing your stories.
Yeah.
Each one of you, the way you have reached where you are today, I think all of you have a story, so you can also do that. I think a lot of learning. And it's good bonding. Yeah. So thanks a lot, guys, and Tagda Rao.
Tagda Rao.
Bye bye.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye.